Okay. Alright, well, look here. Overnight I've started developing cracks in this thing. I don't know why, but it's starting to crack up a little. So I have some repair work to do. But anyway, I'm going to keep going. That should be ready to turn by now. So we are going to get started. I've started roughing it out already. I roughed it out with the center up. And I'm just going to start trying to take it down a little bit. Going to start kind of sanding this on this side. A little dab of friction polish here. Okay, well, I repaired the cracks in the lid, and it's pretty much ready to go. So I'm going to remove it off of there, and I'm going to get started shaping on the box. So let's see about getting that done. You can see here I've made a couple repairs in the cracks there. I just used sawdust and super glue. Worked out very well. Now I got to get started on this. So it's about the right thickness of what I want. So let me see here, get you a little bit better vantage there. I'm gonna start roughly shaping with my bowl gouge, 3/8 bowl gouge. I like the shape of that. I'm just going to keep shaping on the outside, and I'll be back in just a few minutes. Okay, you can see these few little cracks here. Still got some showing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stabilize and repair those with some ingrain shavings right here, which came from, of course, it was American cherry, but I think it'll be just fine here. It's the same thing I repaired the other with. I just crush it up real good, grind it up in my hands real good, and then I start putting it in the cracks. Rub it in there very good, get it in there tight, because what that's going to do is once that glue once the super glue runs down in there and absorbs into all of that stuff, it will stabilize those cracks, which is actually the main idea of doing this, of doing the repairs. Otherwise the crack keeps getting bigger. Alright, let me see where the other is. There's a couple right there. Just run these in there really good and tight. Just really good and tight. There we go. And this one. Now what I've done so far is I've got my box shaped the way I want, but I haven't sanded yet. It's no good sanding if you've got to do your repairs and then come back and sand again, right? Okay, and then I just take a water thin super glue and I'll just put that on the cracks. And that'll really and get it in there good too, so that it gets absorbed all the way in. Uh-oh, I've lost my other crack. It's a pretty good repair. You can't find all the cracks. Where did it go? There it is. Okay. It actually extended on up to the tenon. Alright, now I'll let that dry and I'll be able to do my outside sanding and finishing. Alright, I'll be back in a few minutes when that glue cures up. Okay, on my sanding, those cuts are pretty good. I'm not gonna sand. I'm gonna start sanding at 150. I need to slow the lathe down a little bit. Get her down around 1,000 and be good. Just sand it real well. Get all your tool marks out. Your heavy grit sandpapers are the ones that have to do the most work. Heavy grits right, you have a whole lot less work to do later. I don't want to sand too much on that tenon, but it's pretty tight. I still have to size the tenon down for the box. Alright, let's see what we got. Oh, that's really smooth. Okay. Now I'm going to try and just go with the grain, making sure I get all the marks out. If you get this right, you'll have no problems with the rest of your sandpapers. I've got some little bit deeper marks. I may have to go with a 60 grit or a 100 grit. Depends on how this does. But anyway, no, 150 is going to be fine. But anyway, what I'm going to do is just I'm going to work through my grits down to up to a 400 grit, and then I'll be back when I get ready to put the finish on. All right, well, sand it up to 400. Getting ready to put some finish on it. Speed the lathe up. I've already wiped it down. what I'll do, I'm watching the sheen as I go across. I can watch the sheen move. Once the sheen stops moving around, then that coat is cured. This paper towel gets really, really hot. Putting a lot of pressure in my hands, and I'm about 1,800 RPMs right now. Grab another piece of paper, and I'll do about maybe 2 or 3 coats until I get a finish that I like. I'm just trying to match the finish that I have on the top. Put this here. Once I get a good match, then I'll be done. Okay, now I'm going to try to bore in with my 2-inch Forstner bit. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but I'll see. I'm gonna set my depth with my little depth gauge here. Okay, and I'll turn that around. I'll make a mark right there on my chuck. And once I meet that depth right there, I know I'm at the right spot. And I'm going to try to do that, like I say, with this 2-inch Forstner bit. We'll see how that works out. I may end up changing it. Laid on the slowest speed possible. I just put my new belt on this thing, so my speed gets down around 540, 550, something like that. So it gets on down there pretty slow. But here we go. Just gonna slowly try to bore in. Now normally this is a spindle, and normally I would be catching these shavings. These shavings right here, coming off the end grain, is what I used to make all my repairs with. Okay, well, I've got a 2-inch hole all the way down to about there, and I'm hoping that this won't be too awful bad. Trying to take this out with my bowl gouge, 3/8 bowl gouge. I should be able to get that fairly decent, as long as I watch my thickness very closely. All right, well, I'm going to get started hollowing. I'm just going to come in. I'm going to make pull cuts right up the side until I start getting my thickness, and then I'll come in here with my carbide cutters and stuff, and try to get around that shoulder. Hopefully that's the plan anyway. Got to be careful coming up through here though. And do not get too aggressive. I'm just making pull cuts coming up. Tell you what, I'm going to turn my headstock out so I can get a better angle on this. Alright. Yeah, what I've done is I've just turned my headstock a little bit. It's maybe 20 degrees out of alignment with the bed. That will just make it easier for me to get in here and try to do my hollowing without having to lean way over to get in there. So maybe this will work. We'll see. And I can see in there a lot better too. Because as that's coming around, that cutting edge right there will get shavings up under it, and it won't cut anything, and all of a sudden it'll grab, and it will just slap. It'll jerk this thing off of here if you're not careful. So always be careful while you're hollowing. At the same time, I'm doing little smoothing cuts too at the same time, so I don't get, I'm making little smoothing cuts at the same time so I don't get all messed up down in there. Let me start checking my thickness a little bit here. Okay, I'm about 3/4. Right there, I'm about 3/8 at the bottom. So I've still got a good ways to go. But I'm going to continue on hollowing, and I'll be back in a few minutes once I get the hollowing done. Alright, be back in a few minutes. Okay, I've got it hollowed out. It's about probably 3/16. It's a little bit less than 1/4 thick from here all the way down, even up around this shoulder right here. Now, I may still have to size this tenon a little bit because the lid's very tight, but I need to make a couple pull cuts here and thin that down just a little bit as I go also. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay, yeah, I'm just sanding now. That's all I've got left. Inside is get her sanded up. Then I'm going to have to size this tenon down a little bit so the lid fits down flush. The tenon's a little tall right now. So let me find a good section of my sandpaper here. I just started at 150 and go all the way into the bottom there. See what we're looking like. Okay, good. Man, that is really nice in there. 220. I'm only going to do about 320 inside, and I'm going to put the finishing wax inside. There will cut you. That's better. Well, what I'm shooting for here is once I wax that inside there. Oops, sorry about that. Once I wax that inside there, it'll give it a nice finished. And I'll do that with just some Minwax furniture paste wax, which I have right here. And I'm not going to worry about putting a whole lot in it. I'm just going to put a couple coats in there and get it all the way down there on the bottom first. Okay. Alright. Okay, that'll be great. Okay. I'm just going to rub it in. Make sure I get it all over the inside. Now, I'll have to wait for this for a few minutes to kind of set up a little bit and get to. But make sure you get it in all the grain down through there, because it's very easy. It's very easy to just go in a circle and you end up leaving some empty grain in there. But I'll be back in a few minutes. I'm going to buff this out. I'll put about 2 coats in there, and I'll be back in a few minutes when I get ready to size this tenon down. I'm going to refresh the finish on the whole piece on the outside. Be back in a few. Alright, well, I'm back. I'm down to just making sure the lid fits good. I got to take this tenon down a little bit, and I'm going to do that with my skew, hopefully. And okay. Well, the lid's a little bit tight, so I'm gonna come back in here and just barely take off just a hair of it with my skew, and hopefully get it fitting just perfect. I hope. Don't want to go too far though. Because it does fit. It's just tight. Let's see what we got here. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. Alright. So now I'll just retouch up the finish here. I'm not going to do any sanding. Well, yeah, I'm going to hit it with some 220. Okay, well, I'm going to make a jam chuck out of this piece of maple here. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to take my box, my vernier calipers, and I'm just going to size this inside tenon here. Okay. And then I'm going to turn a tenon on this right here. Hopefully it'll work. Maybe not. We'll see. Okay, I'm very close. Alright, let's see how that fits. I'm hoping that'll work out good. Okay, yeah, I'm a little bit large there, which is kind of, alright, let's see what we got. Perfect. Okay, fits perfect. Alright, I'm going to pull up my tailstock, which still has my Forstner bit in it. So let me get that changed out. I'll be back in just a minute. But this is how I'm going to take that tenon off. Alright, I'll start taking this tenon off, and I'm just going to try to use my, well, they say it's a 3/8 spindle gouge, but they're supposed to be measured across the flute here, and this one measures 3/8 across the flute, so I say it's a 3/8. Alright, just doing my sanding on the bottom. I'm going to go about 220, and then I'm going to put in some decorative lines. A couple of little decorative lines in there. Alright, actually I kind of like that. I'm going to put some lines in it anyway. Probably throw it off and blow it up and everything else. Alright, well, if I do, I do. Let me get some little decorative marks. Go back to the 220. Turn that up good. $320. Alright, oh boy, that's pretty. I need to blow it out real good so that sawdust won't be in there when I put my finish in. I'm going to sign it, and then I'm going to sign it, and then I'm going to put a coat of finish on here. The finish is alcohol base, which will the finish is alcohol base, which will actually cut through this ink. So you have to let it kind of cure before you go rubbing around on it. I'm going to let that sit there for just a minute so that my finish won't try to take that stuff off. Okay. Alright, well, it hasn't tried to take it off yet. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and mount it back up. And I'm going to refresh the finish on the whole piece. Because I've kind of handled it and stuff like that. Alright, let me give that a shot. I don't see black on here. Okay, alright, we're looking alright. See black. Okay, I think we're going to be alright there. Let me get another coat on here. Make sure I get it in all the cracks real good. And we will be in business. Be the end of another project. And I love this project. Alright, well, we're at the end. Nice little Brazilian cherry box. Thank you so much, John, for sending me that beautiful wood. And it is very beautiful. I really appreciate it. The lid fits nice, but it pops right off. I think that's about as close to perfect a fit as you can get. Finial turned out good. We had some repairs to make and things like that, but all in all, it adds good character to the piece, I think, and I'm proud of it. I like it. The inspiration for this came from Bob Hamilton, of course, and he did it was a mahogany box, Very similar to this, but it was a little bit smaller. A job well done on his part. I hope he likes this one. Maybe he will. Because the inspiration for it came from his. I watched it a couple of years ago, and I watched it again the other night, and it's a beautiful box. But I think this one is too. Alright, y'all have a good day, and I'll see y'all on down the road.